It's really great to be here, and I'm sorry for my a bit hoarse voice. It was maybe too intensive dinner with other members yesterday. But no, frankly speaking, I just got a flu on the weekend, didn't fully recover. So yeah, I really appreciate Brad for giving this opportunity to present to such a broad and interesting audience in Romania. My presentation today will be relatively short and focus on a quite interesting perspective on the customer journeys. It's interesting that Peter mentioned that before Piana was well known as the company that was basically doing paywalls, and it was back at 2014-15 when we joined US and Slovakian company, and then there were a few other acquisitions, and now Piana is actually, as we like to call it, a customer experience operation system. So let me maybe first introduce briefly Piana in the way it nowadays. I joined Piana around a year ago as part of the acquisition of a company called Newsmade, where I was the CEO and co-founder. And since that time, in the past year, we almost double our staff now to close to 300 people, and raise Series D funding. So the company is really growing fast. And now with the deal with C-Sense, we're really a global companies with offices all around the world that helps media companies build this personalized customer experience and establish commercial relationships with the user. So. And in terms of the companies we work with, we now have close to 150 premier media groups around the world with brands such as Ringer, Axel Springer, Bonnier, Hearst, Condé Nast, Business Insider, and many others. But we also work with many local media companies and out of media companies, helping them to bring new revenue strategies and optimize their performance with our data and expertise. And one of the quite interesting things about Piana is that because we're working with so many companies around the world, gathering millions of data points on different conversions and billions of user interactions and page views, it gives us quite a unique perspective on the market and knowledge about which tactics and strategies really works best, so it helps our customers to reduce risks of making any changes and skyrocket their growth and revenue. So now let's talk about challenges, and I really will try to take it from the horizontal perspective so it can speak both to brands, agencies, and media companies. And the actual challenge is that you need to put your audience in the center of everything you do. Because, even although it's not a new idea, taking the user-first approach, it really breaks down when you look at it from the perspective of owned and operated channels, like your websites or mobile apps. So when you think about it from the general perspective of the user who's coming to owned and operated channels, they still remain broadcast channels. Websites are built not for the audience who visit them, but for the brands who live on them. And with audience engagement, that is often a side or secondary project that run by marketing team with different marketing automation tools, like, for example, personalized emails, that actually just create a sense of personalization until the user is in the email. But once she leaves and lands the website, this is where it really breaks down. And that's one of the key issues, is that as soon as users go off the path that you built for them in the specific tool, it ultimately breaks down to one-fits-all experience. And this is what we're trying to fix. At the same time, you see the emergence of different engagement tools, and you have separately, typically, as a publisher, DMP and marketing automation and different plugins that you somehow try to integrate together. But what it does do, in the fact, it creates even more broken experience for the users because it's discontinuous and data is fragmented and live in different places. Does this result in this broken experience in the campaign result in the dead end for the user whenever you try to drive him through the conversion path? And it results in the leaky bucket of disengaged users who are not able to discover the offer and content that matters to them on their own. So the customer journeys are broken. When every user is treated the same, whenever what's the interest of the user is and what's the behavior is and where this user is on his conversion path, the experience lacks relevance. And when the experience of the user is irrelevant and discontinuous, the content cannot be discovered by the right audience. And when this audience leaves your website or app, there is no way for them to pick up on this journey where they left it. So the conclusion is that you need to know your audience and understand your outcome. And the solution from perspective of our clients and from what we see across the industry is built-in user-first strategy that helps media companies and brands to establish direct relationship with the customer. And by creating a direct relationship with the user, and fueling unique experiences based on user behavior, you can build engagement and inspire loyalty. And by having this deeper understanding of the audience helps companies to increase revenue and improve results. By putting your audience first, by putting your reader or the customer first, you can drive conversion and better meet your audience and revenue targets. But that requires you to be able to surface the right offer to drive the right action. And no matter how your audience is experiencing your content, you should be able to drive them to the next best action at speed, otherwise they will leave. And it's really important to think how we targeting those audiences. Being able to create these customized content experiences on owned and operated channels really starts with understanding your audience, whether it's a CRM or a DMP segment like CSense can help you to build. Being able to segment your audience not only on demographics, but also knowing where they are in terms of location, what channels they come through, what pages they're reading, what device they're using, and what is maybe even more important, what their user status and behavior is. Being able to target audiences to these customized experiences on site is really important, and bringing all of those components together is ultimately drive engagement. So when you think of an audience member or about the user who are driving on your website or who organically come to your website, they need to go down this customer journey path based on their point of origin, based on where they fit, based on what's your outcome. And they're going to exhibit all these different activities and behaviors throughout their journey that are not necessarily mapped out to the way your website is structured. Just want to give you one example that we had back in September on the content marketing event in New York, where we basically completely customize our own website experiences for the attendees of the event by targeting people who were using event Wi-Fi, so they're visiting the website through a specific set of IP addresses or coming through the direct link provided by the event organizers. We were able to drive people through the pages and through messages that are relevant to people who are attending the event, not for general user that just visited our website. So being able to drive this precise engagement based on all these different elements, including page interactions, scroll depths, or if the user wants to exit your website or exit the experience, all this, if you put it together with targeting and audience engagement, that drives the ultimate outcome. And now we're talking about the outcome or conversion as the ultimate KPI. And as I mentioned, it requires you to be able to surface the next best offer or message to drive the next best action. And the most difficult thing here is it should be a continuous experience, right? No matter if the user comes from the offline, then going through the online or emails or social media, wherever you try this next best action or whatever the action is, whether it's opt-in, registration, sign up, redemption of the offer, membership or subscription, for any of these actions, it's all about being able to bring the personalized experience throughout the journey. And it's up to the brand and the marketing team to make sure that your audience have this personalized experience when they land on the website from whatever the source they're coming. So being able to uncover then all of these insights as far as what flows and what paths drives the ultimate conversion, what stages, content, or individuals or pages help you to drive this conversion, give you the understanding of what specifically you need to change, what you need to do, and then maybe even take a further step with the DMP and being able to look into audience interests and behavioral patterns is really important when you're building your own operating channels that will ultimately drive, convert, and create revenue for you. And of course, one of the key things at Piana that we see, and we see very strong correlation between most successful customers and what they do, is the ability to test as your experiences that you created for your audience unfold. I will give you another example. We have a client who are really doing a lot of testing and really successful and quickly growing the revenue. And by the way, you can think about conversion just like testing different color buttons for your call to action or some basic things, which of course at Piana we can do, so as testing different offers at different time. But it's not just that. If you think about offer, that it's not about only the language. There are strategies behind that. So we have this client who wanted to test emotional offer versus practical offer. And the emotional offer was something like you can save journalism by investing in subscription, while the practical one was this is how much it will cost you, and this is this much value you will get for this much time. And the assumption of the marketing team was that it actually the emotional offer that will drive higher conversion, while in fact that was the practical offer that drove the more subscriptions. And when you think about the ability to be able to test it in real time on the market and learn on these experiences and be able to implement the result of these experiences based back in your campaigns without asking your IT team to do any changes to your website or waiting while there will be some updates to the CMS, this is what brings Piana and our experience. And it's important to understand that journeys never ends. As David mentioned, it never ends there. It's really important to take time to take a deeper look into the insights and analytics, but also something that, with all the data we have at Piana, being able to benchmark your results against others in your industry and understand where specifically you need to improve and what you need to change. This is what is critical, and we see that it brings stable growth and results, not just for the companies who have been in subscription business for a long time, but also for the companies who are just starting. And it's important to mention that we also work with customers who are not necessarily just trying to drive conversion of subscription. It also works for the clients who are trying to build a deeper understanding and deeper engagement of the audience that ends in higher lifetime value of your customers. And that's always the power of Piana, and both from the technological point of view, but also from the strategic services side. Because we really partner with our clients. We trying to, adapt the knowledge we have and the data we have to help them drive best results. And those can vary by, region, client size, the industry. We're trying to adapt this benchmarking data and information to make it relevant for the clients. But most important, I would say, is to have this flexibility and expertise to build all those sometimes very difficult and unusual customer journey. This is where Piana might be the right partner for you. And yeah, I also brought the slide with some of the results of our clients that speak for themselves, like Business Insider, who with the benchmarking data and ability to quickly test and constantly optimize, increase their subscription revenue almost in 3 times, or Bonnier, who get amazing results in the amount of people who convert into subscription offers. We have many different examples of how this holistic approach to the customer journey, starting from the understanding, how to target and engage your audience on a very early stage of their journey when they still do not understand the value of your brand, and then be able to provide the right message at the right time throughout the journey and drive engagement and loyalty over the time. This is what we're trying to achieve, and now I believe we would be able to achieve even better with our VC Sense. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me, and thank you for your attention.